guys and gals, Hannah and Mike here from Trail 7. Today we are excited to bring you one of many Alpine's Jeep specific bundles. And Mike, you want to tell us a little bit what's going on here?
Thanks a lot, Hannah. Today we have Alpine's plug and play speaker bundle for your 2007 to 2018 Jeep JK Wrangler. These are IP55 weather resistant. These are rated with 225 watt peak performance. These are plug and play. These are ready to go into your Jeep JK. We're going to show you how easy these are to put into your Jeep right out of the box. These brackets are made just to fit into the Jeep Wranglers. The pigtails, the wires, the crossovers, the connectors, everything is ready to go out of the box. We're going to show you how to put it together and how easy it is to put into your Jeep JK. Couple of things we want to go over. Recommend a magnet stick, a panel removal tool. You need a T20 Torx bit. You need a 7mm socket. You need a 10mm socket. And I think that just about covered it.
That's it.
Right? Ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's get it installed. All right, guys, let's go show you how easy this is to install. All right, we're gonna get started with the dash speakers. So these are the 1-inch speakers that come with the bundle. These are meant for all years ranges of the JK, from 07 to 14, as well as 15 to 18. And I'm gonna show you how to mount them. Obviously we have a 2017 Jeep here, so this is gonna fit the 15 to 18. But I'm gonna show you how they mount in the 07 to 14 as well. So the included crossover has 2 different connections on here. This one connection is labeled input, and that's for the 2015 to 2017, which in actuality, this is for 2015 to 2018. So this is good all the way to the end of the JK run. As long as it's a JK, this is good for that. The other connector here, the black connector, input is for 2007 to 2014. So you have an 07 to 14, this is the connector that's gonna attach to your speaker housing, to the stock speaker housing. You notice on the other side of the crossover, you have 3 wires. One of them is your negative, and that's the black wire. That's going to connect to the black wire connector on the speaker. The other 2 wires, so this is pretty cool. You have 2 dB options. So you can either install it with the 0 dB, which is just the baseline tweet, or you can increase that dB and you can go to the +3, which is going to give you a little bit of a higher note, of course. So for this one here, for the dash, I think we're going to install it at the 0 dB. I think that gives a pretty good sound. The speaker is bouncing off of the windshield. And I think the same would apply for the 07 to 14 with that speaker aimed right at you. You may want to try the 0 first. However, if you want more, there is the option. Thank you, Alpine. That's fantastic. So let's go ahead and get the removal of the speaker here first, and then we'll show you the install. All right, let's go ahead and get this grill. We're going to use our panel removal tool and just pop it right out. Cool thing about this is the Alpine Jeep. This has the factory Alpine system. It already has Alpine on there. If you have the non-Alpine system and you have the plain grill, the Alpine speakers come with a little template that you can attach to your speaker grill, so you can display Alpine afterwards. Let's go ahead and get the speaker removed. This is going to be your 7mm socket. Here's the connector to remove it. There's this little tab right here. You want to push down on this tab while pulling the speaker, the connector, and it'll come right out. Now again, for this speaker, the 0 dB wire on the crossover is going to go to the speaker wire that's black with a white stripe. Go ahead and attach the negative wire, which is the black wire, and that's going to go to the black wire. Now those are both connected. And this one we're not going to use, that can just sit to the side. Now for the install in the 2015 to 2018, you're going to use this plate. The speaker is going to set inside of here. It clips right in, and it's going to screw down to there. If you have the 07 to 14, this speaker is going to sit right inside the tombstone pod on the dashboard. The old speaker is going to pull right out. This speaker is going to pop in, and it has little clips in here that's just going to snap right into place. This also just snaps right in. So let's get our connection, which is our 15 to 17. Just remember, it's really 15 to 18. Go ahead and reinstall our 2 screws. They're 7mm. And let's go ahead and put our screen back on. And that's it. All right, so the passenger side dash speaker is complete. We're gonna go ahead and move to the driver side. It's rinse and repeat. It's the same exact process on that side, whether it's the 07 to 14 or the 15 to 18. Just remember which setting you had this at for your DB, whether you had it at the 0, whether you had it at the 0.3, so that way you match them. You wanna have 0 and 0 and 0.3 and 0.3, whichever setting. Here we go, we're gonna go ahead and remove the driver side dash speaker, just like we did on the passenger side. So let's get it on. All right, so now it's time to tackle the knee panel speakers. We're gonna flip over to disassembly footage from prior, and then Hannah's gonna come over and show us how to install the new Alpine speakers into our JK.
So now I'm going to remove the knee panel speakers, starting with the passenger side. And the tools we're going to need for this are a 7mm socket, a 10mm socket with an extension. This is a 6-inch extension, and a trim removal tool. So we're going to start by removing the glove box. You just open and you just squeeze it together on both sides to get these tabs to pop out of place, and it just comes right out. Now we're going to use our trim removal tool and pop off this side panel. And there's little clips on the back so you can get your fingers behind there, and it just pops right off. And set that to the side. Now we're going to remove these 3 screws, 2 on the front and 1 underneath. And these are 7mm screws. So now that frees up the dash. You can pull it away. And now we're going to take out the screws that hold the speaker housing in place. So we're going to take out these 2 7mm screws here, and 1 10mm screw on the bottom that I'll show you in a second. Pull the dash away from a little bit. Now our speaker housing is freed up, and if you just unplug this here, now this just slides right out. Now we've moved on to the driver's side, and you're going to start by raising the steering wheel all the way up. And we're going to do a couple things. We're going to remove this trim piece here. We're going to also remove this trim piece on the side. So let's go ahead and start with that. So starting with the trim tool. You just pop this piece off and set it to the side. So now I'm going to remove this front panel here. What you're going to do is put your thumbs on each side and just pull towards you. And there's 4 clips, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and it should just pop right out and pull it out. Set this to the side. So next I'm going to take off this metal bracket here. And you don't have to take it off, but I have found it's easier to get to the wire on the back of the housing to unplug it with this off. So we're going to go ahead and remove it with your 10mm socket. There's 2 little clips that hold it in place, and if you just push up, it just pops right off. You can set that to the side, and now we're going to take off these 4 screws that hold the dash in place. Back to our 7mm socket, and then 1 underneath, and that'll free up the dash. Now our dash is completely freed up, and we can take the speaker housing out. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is unplug it. I'll reach back here, press in the tab, and it just pulls right out. Now you want to unscrew the 2 screws, 7mm screws on the side of the speaker housing, and 1 10mm screw on the bottom. To remove the housing, you need to pull on this dash piece. Now you want to be careful on the corner here that it doesn't crease when you're pulling the housing out. Pulling this away, just gonna pull the speaker out. And now it's out. So now that we have the pods out of our JK, we're going to take the stock speakers out and put the new Alpine speakers in. Let's just go by taking out these 3 screws that hold the speaker in place. All right, pull the old speaker out, and there's a clip here. Just press in on this little tab. Squeeze, pulls right out. Now we can put our new speaker in. Before we do that, we're going to put the poly that is provided in the kit. You're going to put a little hole in the middle for the speaker wire to go through. You use a pair of scissors, a box knife, doesn't need to be anything fancy. Just a small hole. The speaker wire in. Stuff this inside. I'm going to take our new Alpine speakers. This taller tab goes on the top, and the 2 fatter ones go on the 2 bottom. So let's plug the speaker in first. Just push it till it clicks. So it fits right in the same spot that the stock speaker came out. You use the stock screws to put back in. I would cover the speaker cone with your hand if you're going to use like a power tool to put these screws back on, just so you don't slip and fall and pierce this. That will ruin your speaker. So just be careful when you're putting the screws in that you protect the cone. And that's back in place. So I will also mention these are good for the every year of JK, from the 7 to 14, 15, 18. These are applicable to all years. So this one's done. We're going to do the same with the other side, and then we'll get them reinstalled back into the Wrangler. So just to address this wire here, we don't use it in this application, so you don't need it. So just stuff it down inside, plug in your speaker connector, and this just tucks in underneath of it. All right, we have both of these speakers installed, and now we're going to reinstall them in the JK. All right, we're going to start with the driver pod here, and to put this back in, it goes back in exactly the same way that you took it out. The 2 7mm bolts on the side, the 10mm bolt on the bottom. Then you're going to do the 2 10mm on the bracket, and then you're going to put the plastic back in with the 7mm screws here and 1 on the bottom. So let's go ahead and get started with installing the pod. Don't forget to plug it in. This is a good point to go ahead and plug your speaker in. And now you can put the screws, the 2 7mm on the side here and the 1 10mm on the bottom. We're going to do the 10mm on the bottom here. The speaker's back in. Put your bracket back on. Now we're going to wrap it up by putting the 4 7mm screws back into the plastic. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one underneath. Now we just pop the side panel back on. Put your front cover back on. And driver's side's done. So now onto the passenger side. Okay, so same on the passenger side as we just did on the driver's side. We're gonna put this back in the same way we took it out, with 2 7mm screws here on the side and 1 10mm screw on the bottom. And then we're gonna put the dash back together with the 2 7mm screws here, and again 1 on the bottom. So let me go ahead and put this in same way that we took it out. I'm going to start with the 2 7mm screws on the side here. We move to the 10mm on the bottom. This is where it's good to have a long extension so you can get to these bolts. The speaker's in. Make sure we plug it in. Just reach back, plug it in, same way you unplugged it, pushes right in, snaps. Now we can put the plastic back in place. Put our side panel piece back on. Just snap it into place. And put the glove box back in. Now we're done with the knee panel and the dash. We're going to move on to the sound bar. We're going to show a clip on how to disassemble it. And then we're going to move on. Mike's going to show you how to install the new speakers in the sound bar.
All right, now it's time for part 3 of the install, which is the sound bar. Now, you don't need to remove the sound bar because it's literally taking the screens off of the old speakers, taking the speaker out of the housing, disconnecting it, reconnecting the new speaker, and then putting the new speaker in with the new screen on top of it. However, I think it's going to be easier for my demonstration to remove the soundbar, and since the soundbar removal is so easy, might as well go ahead and do it. That way you have the choice whether to remove the soundbar so that way it's below you and you can work on it on a bench versus where it's above you with things dropping on your face. Your choice. All right, so those 3 screws are out on this side. I'm gonna ask Hannah to come help me out to give me a hand holding this side while I move to the other side. Go ahead and remove the 3 now from the other side of the Jeep. And lower the bar down and you'll see the connector, which just push the tab, pull it out, and it's out. We're gonna go ahead and take this over to our table and I'll show you how to remove the speakers and install the new ones. All right, here we are with the soundbar. Remember, this is a soundbar for the 15 to 18. The soundbar for the 7 to 14 is different, so I'm going to show you how to set the speakers up for that year. Let's go ahead and continue with this. So let's go ahead and remove the screen cover and get the old speakers out of the soundbar. You can use a T20 Torx bit for this. Go ahead and lift that right up and get that out of the way. Same T20 Torx bit to remove all the speaker screws. You're going to depress this pin right here, pull the speaker out. Same thing for this guy over here. You're going to depress this little pin right here. That's going to get that speaker out. What I wanted to show you is that this kit comes with the polyfill, just as it did for the knee panels. It also comes with a couple of poly sheets to put in the soundbar. So go ahead and just get a razor blade or scissors or something, cut a little hole in the middle for the speaker wire to come through. Push the rest of the poly into the soundbar like this. And these are ready for the new speakers. So this little pigtail of wire on here, for the 15 to 18, you're not going to use this. It's attached to the speaker. Just go ahead and set it aside. If you want to tape it to the side, that's fine. But we're not going to use it. Just go ahead and stuff it down inside there. After you connect the speaker, the new speaker lines right up. Again, these Alpine speakers are made specifically for Jeep, so the alignment is perfect. You can use the factory screws. It's a good idea to put your thumb over the speaker edge here, just in case the screwdriver slides out of your hand or off of the screw. It doesn't puncture the speaker. So for this speaker here, this is how this comes from Alpine. This is going to come with the plate and the speaker separate. Go ahead and just like you did on the dashboard, go ahead and line this up into the little plate here and snap it right into place. And also, just like we did on the dash, it's the same crossover since it's the same setup. And for this one here, we're going to use the higher dB. So we're going to use the red wire, which is +3. So the solid black wire here is going to attach to the solid black wire on the speaker, and the black wire with the white stripe, that's going to attach to the red wire. Your preference may be a little bit of a softer tweeter volume, so you can switch that back to the 0. We put the dash at 0, so we're going to put the sound bar at 3. If you have the 07 to 14, you're going to use this connector here. Since this is going in the 15 to 18 sound bar, we're going to use this one that's labeled 15 to 17. However, this is for a 15 to 18. So it's the white connector is the 15 to 18, and the black connector is the 07 to 14. Go ahead and get these connected, just like this. In the same way this sits in the dashboard, this is just going to tuck underneath here. Again, using the factory screws. Go ahead and get our grill back on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and install the other side, but what I wanna show you on the other side is how to set the speaker up if you have the 07 to 14 year range. So keep in mind, this speaker here, the speaker grill, the speaker bar is for the 15 to 18. I'm gonna show you how to install the 07 to 14 using this grill, but it's a different grill. The 07 to 14 only has one speaker. You don't have the two like this one's gonna have. But I can still show you how to put the speaker together for your 07 to 14. So let's go ahead and remove the grill. Go ahead and remove our speakers. Pull these out. Again, you're just gonna depress this little clip right here to pull that out. And on this side, you're gonna press this little pin down in here to pull this out. So let's go ahead and get this speaker built as if you were going to install it in the 07 to 14. All right, you're going to use your ring. You're not going to use this. So you are going to use the speaker ring here. You're going to mount the tweeter in the middle of this ring here. This has little clips that's going to clip right into the grill, just like that. It's going to pop right in. Wire here is going to run along. There's a little channel right along here. And the wire is going to run along that channel, and you see a little groove in the plastic where the wire is going to fit into. Okay, you can set this down in there. There's these clips that come with the speakers. This little T-looking clip. This clip is going to clip on top of the speaker wire. That's what's going to hold it into place. And now looking back at the speaker, you'll notice that all of these tabs match up with one of the tabs on the speaker. This one that matches here has a little notch in the side, and that's for that wire to fit into. You're going to snap these tabs down into place using the same wire configuration as we did on the other side. We're going to use the red wire, which is the +3 dB, and the red wire is going to go to the black wire with the white stripe. The black wire is going to attach to the black wire. These speakers are going to attach using the black connector and the black connector. This is labeled on here 07 to 14, and this one that's labeled 07 to 14. These two connectors are going to connect, and the connection you're going to use is from the Jeep into the housing on the speaker. And this is going to sit into the spot. This configuration right here is if you have the 07 to 14, you're going to set up your single speaker in a coaxial manner just like this. So let's go ahead and carry on with our 15 to 18 configuration. All right, there we go. Our new Alpine speakers are installed in our 2017 Soundbar. We're going to go ahead and put this thing back in, which is just the opposite of what we did to get it out. And remember, you don't need to take this out in order to install it. We take it out just for demonstration purposes. It makes it a little bit easier to show what we're doing here. You can absolutely easily install the speakers in the soundbar while it's still mounted in the Jeep. No need to take it out. Personal preference at that point. We're going to go ahead and clip over to the installation process of the soundbar into the Jeep. All right, guys, the new speakers are in the soundbar. We're going to go ahead and get this mounted back up into the Jeep. This connector just pops right back into place here. Here we go. Snaps back in. 10mm bolts back in. All right, our soundbar is up. Our tweeters are in. Our knee dash speakers are in. Let's turn it on, test it out, and let's hear what it sounds like. Sounds good. They are a wide range speaker. I can tell that they definitely carry some of the bass through the mid drivers through the knee areas. They're a very well balanced speaker, right? You can hear the lows, the mids, and the highs. I think they're a great speaker.
I agree. Yeah, I think they sound really well.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, I'm really glad you guys were here along with us. I had a great time installing these Alpine speakers. So much more to come from Alpine. We are super excited to have Alpine as a partnership and what we can bring to you guys coming up here in the very short future. If you want to pick up one of these bundles or any other Alpine bundle for your Jeep, please visit us at www.trail7.com. And until next time, we'll see you on the trails.